Okay, I'm shooting this video basically to show you how to use your harness and show you the different things that I bought on your behalf. Here we have 120 amp fuses for your inline fuse. Here are some charge cables. You can charge one pack with them, or since these are 2-to-1 cables, you can charge 2 packs at once with these cables. So again, they'll plug up to the ports up here, and then you just plug your packs into it. Here we have your PP75. I have white, blue, and green. Normally you'll have yellow, blue, and green, but they didn't have any yellow, so I ordered white for you. Here we have some XT150 connectors. These go on your controller power lines. Here we have some 2-to-1 balance cables, and you will use these for balancing only. Again, since you have 2-to-1 cables here, you can plug in 2 packs here and then plug in 2 packs here, and you can balance those 2 packs. Or since you have a 4P configuration on your packs, what you can do is you can take 2 2-to-1 cables and parallel them together to make a 4-to-1 cable, and then you can balance one pack group at a time. And again, balancing is only really necessary like every blue moon, but since you have the iCharger 308 Duo, and then also you have a cell log that, like I said, you'll just plug that in to spot check your packs. And they'll, just plug it in and just check the balance of your pack. If they're pretty close, don't worry about balancing. If they're drifting, then you'll just either balance the pack individually or parallel or group together, and use those cables to parallel the packs and plug it into the charger. Here's your parallel charge lead. This would allow you to parallel both ports of the 308 Duo, and it goes to your parallel charging harness. These are PP75, so they're overrated for, this is a 50 amp charger. These are 75 amp connectors, so you don't have to worry about those melting or doing anything crazy. I have these split off into smaller groups just to make it easier to pull apart. Anything past 3 is just insanely hard to pull apart. So whenever you're about to charge your parallel groups, you'll take one group and you'll plug it in, right there. You're gonna take your second group, plug it in right there, and that is if you were only running 24S. This fifth one is left loose just in case you go up to 30S. Then you'll plug in that last group, and then that way you can parallel charge all of your packs at once. Okay, on the pack section of your harness, you have your 4mm bullet connectors here that plugs directly into your pack. 14 gauge wire right here. Now 14 gauge silicone wire is good up to 60 amps. So you do have 100 amp setup, so it's suggested that you run at least 2P. If you're running 1P, just be really gentle with riding, but you want to run at least 2P, and that should give you 120 amps, or you should be able to pull 120 amps through the two leads here. The 8 gauge wire that's right here is good for up to 200 amps. And then here we have the PP75 connector. If these are anything like the PP45s, I've ran the PP45s at 60, 70 amps. So if these PP75s are anything like the PP45s, then they can run almost near double the current through them. So I'll probably, say that these are 100 amps safe. Other than that, that just shows you the specs of this section right here. Also, this section is basically, it's about 5 to 6 inches for each section. So the over total length is, let me get a ruler out. So sorry for things being a little bit worn, but it comes out to about 11.5 inches. So that's the spread on it. So just think if these work together, these will have to be together up here when they plug into the discharge cables, but these can also fan out in both directions, so you should be pretty flexible in how you can connect your packs. This is your discharge cable. This basically series your packs. For discharge, you have your inline fuse, and remember, before you start, I left them out just for safety, but put the fuse in, and that enables, the power to flow through. You have a slightly different pre-charge. Basically what you do is you plug in your negative wire, and then you don't plug in your positive wire. You see that little metal tip? You basically touch that metal tip to the connector that's on the controller, wait a few seconds, and then you can plug the connector in, and that should pre-charge the caps in the controller for you. It's a lot nicer and neater than my other pre-charge setup, so I hope you like that. And so basically how you plug your packs in is, again, I have this set up to where it's easier to plug in. And you plug in one plug, which is basically 12S. So, you have 6S, 6S, and these are two separate pack groups of 4 packs. So you have 4 packs in parallel right there, 4 packs in parallel right there. When you plug them into this cable series those packs, but there isn't a complete circuit until all of these are plugged in. So like I said, basically you plug this in like so, and then you plug that in, and then so after you plug that in, that completes the whole circuit, and you should have 88 volts coming out to your controller right there. I do have a separate loop, and basically what you do is you will just take note on how this looks. You will slide these apart, integrate another loop in there, and then reassemble it, and that'll give you 5 spaces to plug in packs. And then whenever you're done with this plug, you'll do the same thing like you were doing for 24S. You'll plug this in, then this in, then you have this last row where you'll plug that in, and that should give you your 30S for your harness. You do have some JST plugs to put on your packs. Basically they go over the plug, so you're not pulling on the wires of the plug. Other than that, I think we pretty much went over everything. Again, thanks for waiting, thanks for being understanding, and I hope you enjoy this harness. Thank you. Okay, basically I'm demonstrating on how to plug in your parallel sections. Right here I have your discharge cable,
And one thing to note about the PP75 is they have a very high retention force. One of these connectors has a 50-pound retention force, meaning it requires 50 pounds of force to unplug. So trying to unplug this whole block at once is nearly impossible. Because so basically you have let's see, 50, 100, 150, 200, 250, 300, 350, 400 pounds of retention force. So you have to have 400 pounds of force to unplug. So basically what I did with your parallel section is I grouped them into four connector blocks. And with your parallel sections, you can plug them on this end or you can plug them on this end. You can plug them on any order because this is just paralleling the packs. This is serial pack, but you can plug it in any order and there should be no issue at all. So I'm going to go ahead and just demonstrate plugging it in. Alright, I got that. And we just snap that into place. And then take your next parallel group and you can, it's just, you just slide in here right next to the one that's already plugged in. And that plugs them all in together. Now to pull them apart, you just grab the wire and kind of firmly grasp the plug, give it a slight wiggle, and you pull it out. Grab the second one, slight wiggle, and you pull out. So that's how you do that. And so when you have your fifth row, so you plug in this one, and then the other one, and then you have your last row with the signal, you plug that in. Again, you can plug this in any order. There should be no problem in doing that. The same thing applies for your charge cable. So basically, well, this is your discharge cable. So you set this aside. This always stays with the bike or whatever. And then you'll get your parallel charge cable. Your parallel charge cable, like I said, split up same as that, where you have two plugs that are full connector plugs, and you have one that's a single. So if you're only running 24 inch, then you should only have these two plugs, and you plug those in to the corresponding plugs on the parallel charge cable, and they can go in any order. It doesn't matter. They get plugged in. And then, like I said, you have that last one, and you just plug the single one into the single one on the charge cable. So that explains on how you can plug your stuff in. It's not that hard, but if you try to group that together to one big block, it's just nearly impossible to unplug. That's why I have to split off into these sections that are a lot more manageable and easier to unplug.
Okay, I'm basically explaining on how to balance charge a section of your pack. Normally when you would be charging your pack, you will be bulk charging, so you will normally be using your charge cable here, and this plugs into this, which goes to your Duo. So this is how you will bulk charge. Plug that in, and this charges the packs, and it just looks at the entire pack voltage, the entire parallel pack voltage, and it charges up to a certain voltage. I think we discussed we was gonna bulk parallel charge up to 4.15 volts a cell. So that's fine and dandy, but just in case you start having a problem with the balance of your pack, the way that you address this issue is basically we're not going to use this parallel charge cable, so let's go ahead and disconnect this. Alright, so you're left with this going to the charger. Then we have your balance cable going to your balance board, and then we took those 3 2-to-1 cables, combined them and made them a 4-to-1 cable. So basically what you do is you find your, I want to say you find your offending group, but if you wanted to balance charge, basically what you do is you take this cable and then you plug it into one group right here. And so basically once that's plugged in, it's only looking at the 4 packs in this one group here. So basically, alright, so the charger sees those 4 packs, but it sees those, it just sees the whole voltage of that pack. So what we want to do is get the charger to see the cell voltages, and that's when you come through and you connect these 4 balance taps to the 4 balance taps of those packs. Once you do that, you'll see the voltages come up on the charger, and then you'll just start a regular charge cycle, and then make sure you set the charge cycle to slow balance the pack, and that, like I said, that pulls all of the cell groups back in line to where it should be about 1 or 2 millivolt deviation, which is really good. But that's how you would balance one group of the pack, and once you're done with that one, then you go to the next one. So instead of plugging this one here, you'll plug it down here, and then it'll be addressing these 4 cells of this pack. And then you'll take those same cables, plug it into the 4 balance, the balance cables here, and plug it into the 4 balance packs of these packs here, and then you balance that group and keep repeating until you balance all the packs. Once all of them are balanced, then you can continue bulk charging your pack like you would normally do. Also, on a side note, never plug your discharge cable, the one with the fuse, into your charge cable. I don't know if you decide to be adventurous one day, but never ever do that. It will be very bad. But I think that's it.